Welcome back, viewers at home. As you know, right here on Prime Live, every Tuesday we're all about speaking health and wellness to our beloved viewers at home so that we can be more proactive in how we live and the choices we make regarding our health, because after all, your health, it is your wealth. Now, every September, CHOC comes together to honor the courageous young patients by wearing gold ribbon, like myself, to remember those who have lost their lives and create a wave of change that can provide a hope for a better future. Joining me on this conversation to finding out more around all things work done by CHOC Foundation and the impact it has on the individuals, whether directly or indirectly affected by cancer. To give us more on what they do, how they do it, I am joined by the Regional Manager for Gauteng South at CHOC Childhood Cancer Foundation, Zandile Pooe. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, before we get to the amazing work that you are doing as the foundation, I have to find out from you on a personal note to say if you can walk us through your journey in terms of what brought you to CHOC or what connection that drove you to say, this is where I see myself. Because oftenly times you find that when it comes to, dealing with, the likes of cancer or just taking care of people, people tend to be hesitant. I want to find out from you, what said to you, this is for me?
So a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, used to work for CHOC actually, and she was the comms manager in about 2018, 2019. And she was telling me about the organization, what they do, and I fell in love with the cause. And when an opportunity opened up for me to join the team, I leapt at it, and that's how I joined them.
Amazing. And how far, thus far, how has it been?
It really is one of those very life-changing experiences because it brings you so close to your mortality. You get to see children. I have 3 of my own. So you get to see children every day going through the most challenging part of their lives possibly, and you really want to make a difference.
Yeah.
So the way that we do that is through the services that we provide, but I think just being close to seeing the suffering and being an instrument of change for that is what keeps me going.
Now, Zandile, today I'm hoping you will bring or you will share your experiences with us and also speak to the greater cause that's happening in this very month and why we wear the golden ribbons. I want to find out from you because oftenly when I scroll on social media, you do see children who are, battling cancer, and the way that they are just battling it with so much grace, I feel like there's more to what we're seeing. The pains and the drives to the hospitals and the being away from home, it's something that it does affect them in some way. And which brings me to ask you if you can just speak to us about the unique challenges that the children and the teenagers faced with cancer tend to battle with in terms of be it emotional, be it developmental or the physical needs.
I think what's very treacherous about a cancer or a blood disorder diagnosis is that it doesn't just disrupt the life of the child. It disrupts the life of the entire family. Because when you think about it, is that any stage between birth and 18 years of age, you're a dependent. So that means that you cannot walk the journey alone. And you need to be there with a caregiver consistently throughout your treatment journey. And when you look at what point the child is diagnosed, what type of treatment needs to be administered in order to get them to recovery stage, affects them mentally because it depends if it's a brain tumor, there's chemotherapy, there's surgery, there's radiation that needs to be administered, and it interferes with their developmental growth. So some of them cannot even have a normal life after that because psychologically they just can't function the way a child of their age or even growing into their older stages has the ability to develop into. Some of them have to be amputated depending on the type of cancer that they had. So their eyes need to be taken out, their limbs. I mean, Mosa Mota, the famous dancer, he had to have his leg amputated. So there's so much physically, which then translates to emotional and psychological that the families and the children particularly go through.
And this now makes me want to find out, you know, the likes of the CHOC Foundation in terms of how they go about creating that support structure for those affected. And I like the fact that you highlighted when kids are suffering, it's not just the child, it's the whole family.
Absolutely.
And it probably extends to the relatives because of the, you know, taking care of the child, seeing to the child's needs and wants in that favor. I just want to find out in terms of in CHOC's work, how exactly do they go about creating awareness and how they go about supporting some of, you know, CHOC Foundation patients.
Well, we consider our services to be comprehensive child and family support services.
Okay.
So like I said, the child cannot walk the journey alone. So they have to have someone there with them, whether it's the caregiver themselves in the form of a mother, an aunt, a grandmother, and they then have to have the entire family as often as they need to visit their family while they're doing treatments at the hospitals. So what we provide is accommodation. So when a child is living within or outside a 50-kilometer radius of a pediatric oncology unit, we accommodate those children when they are when they're in their outpatient phase of treatment.
Yeah.
So that means that they have a place to stay. And it's not a shelter, but it's a home away from home. So if you visit any one of our CHOC houses, it's really geared to look after, and it's a calm and peaceful environment, and it's very therapeutic in many aspects. And we also provide transport. So for those families that are able to go through treatment at an outpatient level, we ensure that we provide them with the transport sustenance for them to go back and forth, because that mitigates treatment abandonment. Because if these families, because we know the socioeconomic dynamics of our country, so a lot of people, if you have to be in and out of a clinic twice or 3 times a week for about 2 to 3 years, that is going to take a financial strain on you. So providing those transport funds ensures that the families can be able to take their child through the entire treatment phase, whether it's however many rounds of chemo, the surgeries that they might need to go through, the radiation treatments. So that transport fund is very instrumental in ensuring that the treatment doesn't get abandoned. We also provide, like I said, our socioeconomic dynamics means that a lot of families, and just to mention this, sometimes the caregivers need to leave their jobs. So it affects the family tremendously in the economic sense. So we then provide food parcels. We ensure that the child is able to withstand, you know, the serious effects of chemotherapy on the body when we provide those food parcels, not just for the child, but for the family, for them to be able to at least be sustained while they go through that treatment journey. We also ensure that we create awareness. So our awareness program is quite extensive because we are a national organization based in 6 regions, so 6 provinces around the country. We do have a presence, but we service the entire country, all 9 provinces, through those 6 regions. And that enables us to ensure that we reach every child.
Certainly, and I get so excited in hearing such beautiful work being done by great foundations like that of CHOC Foundation, because as you're mentioning, when we look at the socioeconomic dynamics, as a working class, you struggle to make ends meet. You can only imagine for someone who is living in the most marginalized areas, has no access, and it's like way too from here. And thank God, and really, you know, may the Almighty continue blessing such foundations like yourselves, because we know that with them there, then access is something that is now attainable. And this brings me back to, I want to look at the majority South Africans, which is the black people. As oftenly you hear that they don't want to go for checkups, they don't want to go to hospital, because there is this notion that, you know, hospital, you go there, you don't come back, and, you know, the doctor starts telling you about other 500 things when you just went in for a headache. I want to find out from you, how aware are we around all things cancer awareness?
What's really heartbreaking about the Black African community particularly is that even when the information then becomes available, there are myths and stigmas that plague us in our communities. And when you look at our treatment pathways,
Yeah.
when it comes to us, we would normally, or what we've witnessed is that families would not start at a medical healthcare facility first when they seek treatment. They will most likely take the traditional route of a traditional healer. And we have made great efforts and strides in building partnerships with the traditional healer organizations in the country to ensure that we have them informed and they are aware of the early warning signs, they are aware of what to look out for when cancer could be part of the diagnosis of the child. And a lot of them, thankfully, have been very cooperative. A lot of them have worked hand in hand with us when it comes to specific patients that have been administered medically through the pediatric oncology units, but then sometimes they opt to go back to traditional medicine. So that whole journey for us means that we are open-minded and we ensure that we accommodate and we address the stigmas and the myths, because then you have all sorts of things like, people believe in witchcraft, people believe in, when a child has this, it could be some curse in the family. So we try and address those things through our early warning signs, but also through our awareness campaigns that we run in communities, that we also do with healthcare practitioners particularly.
And with that being said, I want to find out from you what kind of, because you did mention briefly in terms of food parcels and, transportation amongst others. Now, to the patient themselves, I believe these are the children and the teenagers affected. What kind of support can a child with cancer or life-threatening blood disease expect to receive from CHOC? Let's say I come in, I've been diagnosed. Walk me through that.
So one of our greatest programs, I believe, is the psychosocial support program that we run at the hospitals. So when we work together with the pediatric oncology team, so when a child gets diagnosed at a pediatric oncology unit at a hospital, there's a social worker that is a CHOC appointed social worker in the hospital who works the journey with the family from the point of diagnosis all the way up to the entire treatment program. And we do this because we've recognized the importance of like the breaking of bad news, the language barriers. So our social work team is in the unit to ensure that the families are communicated to, they understand what's going on with them, they know, the journey that's in store for them, and emotionally they are supported from the point of diagnosis.
Oh, this is quite amazing, amazing. And I really commend once again CHOC Foundation for the efforts that they are putting in ensuring that the journey, as hard as it is, it doesn't become harder than it needs to be. And I think this now brings me back to, earlier on I did say that every September CHOC goes about, creating this moment of honoring these courageous individuals by us wearing this golden ribbon. Can you talk me through why the golden ribbon and how do we as fellow, I don't want to say South Africans, but fellow humans also contribute in supporting those who are affected by cancer?
Well, the yellow ribbon symbolizes, it's a global symbol for the resilience, the strength, and hope, essentially.
Yeah.
And this is because when you get something, news that can potentially change your entire life, hope is the most important aspect of how you can move forward.
Sure.
You want to focus on the positive. You want to think of life after what has happened to you. And we are very intent. Our slogan at CHOC is keeping more than hope alive. And we ensure that our families know from when they get the bad news that this is a journey that they're not going to have to walk alone. And this is a journey that we are going to hold hands with them to ensure that they get to the end of it.
Amazing, amazing. And how do we, and I just want for viewers at home to also, how do we get the golden ribbon, and what does it, do we purchase it, or do we sign up using the CHOC website to get it, and us having it and wearing it every September, what does that mean?
So the gold ribbon you can get from us at our website. So you can come to any regional office. If you visit our website, www.choc.org.za, you'll be able to find, I think now it should be on our homepage as to directing you where you can find it and purchase a ribbon. Or you can get any of our regional office details, and then you can go personally into the regional office and purchase more.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Zandile, as we close off our conversation, I'd like for you to really summarize our conversation to the viewers at home in terms of what you wish and hope that they take away from what CHOC is doing, what already exists, and the fact that there is zero to not so much awareness around, you know, the Black African community when it comes to all things cancer orientated. As you say, it's flooded, or rather it's so confused by the stigmas that surround the word cancer, let alone, you know, the journey itself.
I think I want them to know that children do get cancer, and cancer is treatable when diagnosed early. Globally, the survival statistics are at 80% and above, but in South Africa, unfortunately, we have a 60% survival rate currently, and we are working tirelessly to ensure that we also elevate it up to global standards. And with that said, there is support. No child has to walk the journey alone. CHOC services are there, the medical fraternity, the pediatric oncology units around this country are world class, and the treatment that the children can get there is world class. So I want them to know that as they become aware and as they face the reality that childhood cancer is a reality, they must just know that it's not fatal. It's not something that marks the end, but there is hope and they can get help.
Zandile, this has been quite a very amazing conversation, inspiring, because you know, when somebody, and like myself, I think if I were to ever be diagnosed with anything, the first thing I look at is the ability to afford, access, amongst other things. And just having this conversation with you has really, I think, secured many viewers watching tonight to say there is hope, there is help, and certainly making sure that supporting foundations like CHOC is not only supporting them, but also supporting ourselves. But thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Viewers at home, that was the incredible regional manager for Gauteng South at CHOC Childhood Cancer Foundation, Zandile Pooe, who was sharing in what it means when CHOC says they are here for you. It's not just words, but it's through their action. Because for the mere fact that as soon as you're diagnosed in the hospital or at the hospital, there is a social worker who is ready, straps on, to walk that journey with you. But viewers at home, hope this was quite insightful, and I'm hoping that you'll certainly be going to the website to get yourself the ribbon, and let's all be in solidarity with all the cancer warriors out there. But for now, let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you just after this.